It's Friday, and I normally stream on a Friday, but this is the exception to the rule here. We're going to be making a video before the stream, and it's been announced several hours ago as well. Australia time zones, you know, we're waking up. It's only 7 in the morning right now. This is the newest event vehicle in War Thunder's regular cycle of events, which means that there's one event vehicle per, month or so, and they give you a bunch of points that you need to accumulate, and then you can unlock a premium vehicle. We're not going to focus on the Jaguar just yet, but the most important change here is the discounts on purchasing stages using Golden Eagles. So those of you who wish to, you've completed half of a star, and you will then get a discount based on how much of the star you complete. So that's a fantastic change. I commend Gaijin for that, but really, a Jaguar IS, sort of justice. Now, I understand having a event Jaguar, as the French had one, I think last year or the year before. But in my mind, this is the worst vehicle they could have added when they're supposed to be unique event vehicles. There's so many interesting other fighters and other interesting aircraft that could be added, but they've gone ahead and given us a Jaguar. It's like the German Phantom or the German Tornado, for example. Kind of interesting, but also really not. Not many people would have those. The Marineflieger particularly was interesting because it had anti-ship missiles, and then they went ahead and removed any ship on all of the air realistic maps, making it impossible to get any torpedo kills, and you can't complete some of the achievements in game. I don't know. This has also reminded me of the Chinese F-100, which is actually Taiwanese, but it was a twin-seater sort of support aircraft that was mainly close air support, like this particular vehicle. Also, the Su-25. And with the exception of the BV-155 and the F-2G, I can't really remember a prop vehicle that was actually, or just a fighter vehicle that was utterly unique to the role of just being a fighter. Ultimately, top tier at the moment, 16 versus 16, team deathmatch, you fly into a furball and you fire missiles at each other. This, even though it's going to be a British vehicle, it's only going to have 2 magics and can probably hold a bunch of other ordnance as well. It's nice if you want to throw it into a ground lineup, and it's nice if you want to collect Indian vehicles. That's fantastic. I applaud them for adding more content. However, when you go and add more close air support vehicles, people get a little bit anti-pantsy, especially when you're an air realistic only player instead of a ground realistic player. And what gets me is that the tankers get a really dope looking prototype Russian vehicle that fires high explosive at anything and basically kills it, and it's fantastic fun. And air players get a copy and paste close air support jet that really is a bit lackluster and can't really verse F-16s ultimately too well unless you're relatively skilled. Because while the guns are fantastic, you've only got 2 magics, that's all you've got, unless you bring the snebs and use those, and it's debated whether or not it'll even have that kind of ordnance, or whether it will have its unique Indian ordnance as well. So, I don't know. Do you get what I'm trying to say here? If Gaijin were to focus more on giving us air-focused rewards, the last event was a Mirage 2000, and it was the last one that could have really been a dedicated air fighter, but there are plenty of unique prototype vehicles or non-production vehicles that were made in limited batches, and jet aircraft that you could potentially interest people in. It doesn't really have to be a high-tier vehicle even. Give us a lower-tier vehicle that has some unique feature. What about the dual propulsion vehicles? The Jack Ryan, for example, is propeller-driven and then also jet-driven. You've got several Russian experiment vehicles that are the same. What about the Sea Dart, a jet, like, Dorito-shaped flying boat? What about Saunders Row, I forget what it is, SRA-1 or something like that, the British flying boat with 420mm cannons. It's a jet-powered aircraft. What about the F-107 or the F-106? What I'd like them to do is make a focus on the mode that you actually grind the thing in, because these event vehicles, right, and particularly the Object 292, you have to play ground in order to get this event vehicle. Unless you play GE to do the event, which is what I did because, well, who has the time to really sit there and grind out 45,000 points, am I right? But the ultimate disappointment is that it is, there's already been an event Jaguar, it's just a matter of time that there was another one added. Or are they trying to tell us that they're heading towards maybe adding India as a sub-tree to Britain? I mean, I can see that working particularly well. There's a lot of Indian vehicles that would make the top-tier British lineup a little more enjoyable, but that's for ground. For air, it doesn't really make any sense. And what strikes the deal even more is when some of the other content creators pointed out that there were exceptions to, copy-paste aircraft and maybe, unique items, being that of the BV-145 and the F2G, Smen went out and responded, there is not a huge supply of unique World War II aircraft if you do not wish to include variants of foreign operated aircraft that can be used without also detracting from things we can add to trees or use in events also. In other words, they can't be fucked. So, it is what it is. And he went on to go say, hey, we plan to have a range of rewards for all types. The Indian Jaguar was planned for some time as a reward, but we'll also have to have a variety of aircraft available from across future events from multiple classes. So what that indicates to me is there's going to be a multiple classes. Great, you're going to have another bomber event vehicle. Surely that's going to be cool and unique. And maybe if you're going to go that route and go with experimental, might as well lean into that whole entire experimental thing, since you've got the Yak-3, the Ho-229, and several other Russian things which shouldn't exist in the first place. If you're going to go and add stuff like the BV-155, or the XP50, for example, or the ITP, then why not have a bunch of other mixed propulsion or even unique things? I'd love to see the Chaika with the ramjets, the P-51 with ramjets. That's kind of unique. Maybe we go with the Ryan Fireball, where it was basically a jet engine in the rear and a propeller in the front. That was cool. What about the Moonbat, the XP... I forget what the designation is, but what about the upgraded P40, the P40Q, stuff like that. There's a heap of things that could be added, and I just feel like at a bit of a loss for why they are potentially adding things that not many people are actually going to grind. If you want to have something unique and hype up this event with an Object 292 and have a massive sort of prototype vehicle, then why are you giving us a copy-paste vehicle? Surely for the boats you would do that, and not give us another glorified closed air support vehicle. I'm not entirely sure. Am I on the right wavelength? Let me know in the comments down below. I hope that that's coming across as I'm genuinely confused here, and I was extremely angry when I saw the news, because I wasn't angry at the fact that it was an Indian vehicle. No, that's not the case, but I was disappointed that indication was basically an afterthought, and even if it was planned for a very long time, was second to what it should have been. I just really feel like the vehicle could have been something a little more exciting, and yeah, for me it's lost all its charm. It's like you're thinking of the air players as second to the ground, and well, it's clearly obvious over the last many event vehicles and battle pass vehicles that the last real, giving a shit was the Strike Master. But even then, that's not really a fighter. I don't know, I'm sort of at a bit of an injunction here. As Jaguars go, perfectly alright aircraft. Not exactly too competitive these days, but still a very capable fighter. 2 missiles isn't really enough, but everything else seems to be fine with, I guess, another twin-engine chonky bastard. I do really enjoy flying Jaguars when I get the chance to, but it's not often that I fly them because you're often up-tiered, or most times you get clubbed on by, other premium vehicles. And if you're using it as a dedicated bomber aircraft, well, there's F-111s and stuff now, so good luck. It's just a bit of a mess. I really, really wish for something. Maybe even the CAS Kangaroo would have been a fantastic vehicle to add. Lower the points for the tier of the vehicle, and then away we go, But we can't have nice things. Instead, we get half-assed things, rather than unique stuff like the ground players. Let me know if I'm complaining too much, and certainly, are you excited to unlock a Jaguar? By the way, it is 45,000 points per task for a Jaguar. So it's going to be performing exactly the same as regular Jaguars, just in the British trade with magics. That's all. Thank you very much for watching. Go get my decal, the link in the description down below. 3% off anything in War Thunder, if you're silly enough to spend money on that. Otherwise, we will see you in videos shortly. And if you're catching this when this goes live, basically I am live streaming for a couple of hours. Myself and Kiwi, we're going to go play Jaguars and suffer for a bit. Alright, bye-bye.